Welcome to my recap of episode 3 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. This episode is called The Squire. And yeah, it's an egg episode. Very egg-centric. I am going to just say spoiler warning because there is a pretty big spoiler revealed in this episode and we're going to get into it. Now, the episode does begin with Dunk and Egg under the elm tree. Dunk is asleep. Dunk is like, ignorance is bliss. He's in his own little world. Egg, not so much. Something's bothering Egg. You can tell something's weighing on his mind. And he gets up and he's talking to Thunder, the horse, and he's trying to train this horse so that both he and the horse can serve Dunk as best they can. When he was like, look, we can't let Dunk down. We're all he's got. If he hopes to stand a chance, we are going to have to be on our game. And when he says, you know, my father told me not to talk to horses. What does he say? Something about them being like stupider than dogs. Then he says, I don't think that's true. And slowly he and Thunder start to develop this rapport, and you've got the horse racing along and Egg going, yeah, yeah. And he's running around, picking up the sword, using that as a makeshift lance. Like, Sir Duncan, catch. Both he and Sir Duncan, they realise we've got a pretty big struggle ahead of us if we want to get out of this in one piece. So whilst Egg is doing all of this, he crosses paths with a gentleman with one eye. He is Sir Robin of House Riesling, and he's got a bit of a reputation, put it that way. Well, Egg's like, you're the maddest knight in the Seven Kingdoms. What Sir Robin says to Egg about madness, it's important. Now, back at camp, you've got Dunk taking on this role of like father figure. He's like, where were you? Don't go off without telling me. If you go somewhere, tell me where you're going. This is the funny thing about Egg, who is a very streetwise kid, but also at the same time, he is just a kid, and Dunk worries. This is a kid that does know a lot of stuff. He's a bit of a smart aleck, but he's never been sat down and taught how to do a whip stitch. One of my favourite moments in the entire episode was Egg sitting in the tree and singing this song. It's just so well done, and the way that Dexter Saul Ansel, firstly, this scene, but the entire episode, he was just outstanding. What a smart, talented young actor. Like, this kid is going places. He's so charming, so personable, and so good at what he does. Like, this kid is acting his arse off. And it's not easy material. I also think that the song is something that Sir Lionel Baratheon and Sir Manfred Dondarrion would very happily join in and sing along to. Now, Egg has to break the news to Dunk that, yeah, you can't just rock up to the tourney and just fight in the lists. Like, you can't just go, I'll go first. That's not how it works. The highborn, the nobility, the people who are famous throughout the realm, they go first. And it doesn't really register with Dunk in the moment that what that really does mean is that the people that he will eventually face, they've knocked out other competitors. So he's going up against proven winners. So his job is even harder. And it doesn't really sink in for Dunk. It does for Egg. He's like, this is serious, Sir Duncan. That's why he's trying so hard to help him. So Dunk is like, okay, why have I been chewing myself to bits all morning? Why have I been sick all day over what's to come? And I'm not even jousting today. I very much appreciated the scene of Dunk trying to purchase the eggs and trying to communicate. And Tansel just being like, this guy, he's so green. Like, Dunk is not, he's playing checkers and everyone else is playing chess. And I mean that in a complimentary way because he doesn't have like a malicious mindset. He's not a schemer. What you see is what you get with Dunk. I also think it's really important to remember that Dunk and Egg have only known each other for what, a couple of days, and they already click. Like, they're already in sync with each other. They just get on so well. They understand the other person so well. You can see, especially with Egg, he relaxes around Sir Duncan. He trusts him. He feels safe with this person. And you can notice when Egg does not feel safe. He is a young kid. He can't hide it. His body language, very brilliantly acted out by Dexter Saul Ansel. You can see when he feels uncomfortable and scared. He's not like that with Sir Duncan. So they're sitting there and they're talking about, you know, their hopes and dreams for the future. And Egg is like, you know, please let me stay on with you afterwards. And the fact that he even thinks that there is going to be an afterwards, that Dunk is going to make it through, when many people will not survive this tourney because of how dangerous it is, that says a lot about the faith that Egg has in Dunk. And it's difficult for Dunk because he has a bit more of a realistic perspective. He realizes, he's understanding, yeah, this is super dangerous. I could get seriously hurt. I might not even survive. And I think he doesn't want to set Egg up with any expectations. And he doesn't want to abandon Egg. He doesn't want to die in this joust, crushed under the weight of a horse or dragged along by a horse, God forbid. What's going to happen to Egg? That's what Dunk's thinking, and it's a worry for him. It's a pressure on his shoulders because Dunk obviously wants to win the tourney. He sees it as a stepping stone, but he also wants to make sure that Egg's going to be okay as well. And the fact that afterwards Egg is talking to Dunk about believing in yourself, like, I am of the belief that if you go into something already doubting yourself and already feeling a kind of way, you're probably not gonna succeed. Like, you have to almost fake it till you make it in this kind of setting. You've got to really go in there and have totally blind faith. Like, there's not really much for Dunk to think, okay, I've got a chance here. You've got to just tell yourself, I'm okay, I've got this. And even if it's not true, and even if you don't really believe it, just keep telling yourself, because that will get you through this. And then Plummer turns up, the guy who's in charge of putting the games together for Lord Ashford. This is all for his daughter, her name day. And long story short, he says, Dunk, we need a bit of a favour. And Dunk doesn't realise the scheme that's in front of him. And Plummer says, look, Lord Ashford, he's pretty skint. He spent a fortune on this tourney and we kind of need to make some money back. So if we put money on you and Lord Ashford's son deliberately takes a fall, if he takes the L, we'll all get a great payday because no one's going to think that you're going to stand much of a chance. And the thing with Dunk, and you see this time and again, it doesn't occur to him initially what he's being asked. He's like, do you want money from me? He doesn't understand that he is being asked to do something that is technically against the rules. And Plummer has to explain, no, you don't understand. This will work out good for you. You know, you'll get a nice little something, something. But Dunk is like, wait, that's not honourable. And it doesn't really sink in with Dunk. Like, wait, what? And Plummer is like, mind your pride. Just think about this. Don't rule this out. Like, it's nice and everything to have principles and to do the right thing, but it's also nice to have a roof over your head. And the fact that he tries to appeal to Dunk like this, and Dunk is like, no, like, I don't think you've got the right guy. Dunk is not thinking with an agenda. He's not thinking 10 steps ahead. He's just thinking about the first step in front of him, which is, I'm going to compete and I'm going to just do my best. That's as far as his schemes go. And I also think Plummer does feel for Dunk. And I noticed it in the scene in episode 2 where Dunk is talking to Prince Baelor. Plummer kind of like, it feels to me like he feels for Dunk. Like, this guy, he's so green, he's so naive. He doesn't have a bad bone in his body. He's not like all these other people who are all out for number one. I think he genuinely would like to see Dunk land on his feet. But at the same time, his loyalty is to Lord Ashford. And so that's why he has to ask Dunk, you know, can we sort out some kind of agreement here? But Dunk is like, I don't want a victory that I did not earn. And what Plummer is suggesting, it goes against everything Sir Arlen ever taught Dunk. It's the dishonesty. It just doesn't sit right with him. So the trumpet sounds and everyone makes their way to the tourney grounds. And it's all very exciting and it's like, oh, what's going to happen? And it's announced that Prince Aerion of House Targaryen is going to be up first. And out trots Aerion looking... I don't even have the words to say what he looks like. He's in this armour and it's very elaborate, to say the least. I mean, it's a bit on the nose. Like, yeah, we get it. You're the House of the Dragon. You don't really have to shove it down our throats. We get it. Notably, Prince Baelor, Aerion's uncle, is not very impressed. He's like, yeah, whatever. there doesn't seem to be too much love lost between uncle and nephew, put it that way. And Baelor is sat there in relatively simple garb. Like, he's got, you know, a little bit of something on. He's got a bit of bling here and there, but he's not over the top. And it's like he's looking at Aerion and like just laughing, like, what do you look like? It's too much. It's too much. You're overdoing it. Now, Prince Maker, Aerion's father, is notably absent. And I think Aerion probably feels a bit snubbed. Like, oh, Dad couldn't even be bothered to come and watch me. So I think that grinds his gears a little bit. And Prince Maker going off to find his two missing sons, I think that does say a lot about Maker. Like, he could have just sent other people out, and he probably already did, in fairness, but he personally goes out to try and find his sons. I think that's nice. I think that is a father, a single parent at this point. His wife has died. He's got 6 children, and they all keep him very busy, especially the 2 eldest. Now, Aerion comes trotting along in front of his cousin, Prince Valar's tent. Valar is the son of Prince Baelor. He is the heir to the heir. So one day when Daeron II dies, Baelor will become king, and after him, it'll be Valar. That's the plan. We did see a still of Prince Valar before the show aired, and you could see him sitting outside his tent. But I never realised, like, the detail with the dragon heads and everything. Like, it is impressive. And it's subtle. It's not too much. I think Valar has got it just right. His armour looks really good, but it's not over the top. It's not... I don't want to call Aerion tacky, but it is a bit tacky. It's like being told, okay, this is the assignment, and Aerion gets it too on the nose, whereas Valar is a bit more subtle, just a little bit more discreet, not so in your face. It still looks badass, but it's not ostentatious. And I like the fact that Valar didn't say anything. He just stood there looking at Aerion like, cousin. And you've got to remember the difference in status between these first cousins. Valar is heir to the heir. He is the firstborn son of the firstborn son of the king, whereas Aerion is the secondborn son of the 4th son of the king. So he's way down the pecking order. And that plays a huge role in why Aerion is the way he is. He's always trying to make a scene, and it's like, you don't need to, but it doesn't occur to Aerion. He thinks that if you just go in and you make a spectacle, that will automatically make people adore you and follow you and worship you. And I think maybe most importantly in Aerion's mind, it means people will conform. It means people will behave. Even Baelor is like, oh, Aerion, take it down a notch. You're just doing way too much. So Aerion trots along and he says, come out, little knight, to Sir Humphrey, and out he comes, and we're about to begin. And Dunk and Egg are front and centre, and Egg is seeing Aerion and he's like, kill him, get him. There is no love lost between Egg and Prince Aerion. So the crowd are cheering, and as my good friend the Golden Boy said, and I love that he says this, I'm going to keep on saying it and giving him a shout out because it's brilliant, and also it's topical because this is Super Bowl week. This tourney is the Super Bowl in Westeros. It's that big a deal. So the crowd is hyped up. Everyone's chanting and cheering and drinking. It's all great. People are like, we're going to be in for a great day. But they're not. Aerion and Sir Humphrey, you know, they charge at each other and then they go round again. And it's on that second turn that Dunk notices Aerion is holding his lance too low, and Aerion deliberately points his lance at Sir Humphrey's horse. And you're not meant to do that. It's meant to be lance against lance, or you're meant to be like, you know, spearing someone's shield. You're not meant to be sabotaging them by taking their horse out from under them. And obviously the horse hits the deck. Sir Humphrey falls as well. He's like trapped under this horse. The whole crowd is in utter shock, like, what just happened? Like, people can't believe that this is the big, we've only just started and Aerion's done this, and everybody is like, that is not on, you cheated, that was some dodgy shit, like foul play. And the crowd gets a bit restless, and then Prince Baelor is like, I can't believe Aerion has been so stupid. Like, I have a difficult enough job as it is. We do as a family. Why are you making it harder? You're sitting there on your horse and you look like a big giant prick. No wonder somebody threw a cow patty at Aerion's head. I loved how it just knocked his visor down. That was chef's kiss. But the crowd don't appreciate this kind of behaviour. This is not fair. And it's cruel. You've got the poor horse writhing on the floor, and things start to get out of hand, and the crowd climb over the fences, and you've got the Knights of the Kingsguard come charging out, and the whole thing just descends into chaos. Like, Baelor is like, this is not how it was meant to go. Like, I'm just picturing Baelor explaining what happened to Maker. Like, well, guess what happened, brother? Yeah, you missed some drama. This is not how it was meant to be. And Aerion has fucked up big time. He's caused a spectacle. He's ruined the day. Everybody is aghast. And it's getting out of hand. Punches are being thrown. It's a mess. This is not what the Targaryens want to be associated with. And Baelor is like, you're embarrassing us. You're making us look like idiots. There was no need to do that. And it's not sportsmanlike. Like, this is not what you do. Fair is fair. And you didn't actually win. You caused your opponent to fall to the ground. You cheated. And I think in Aerion's mind, he's starting to realise, I think I overdid it here. Just a smidge. Like, this is not really how Aerion hoped it would go. He knows, damn, I'm gonna be in trouble. Dunk very smartly gets Egg out of there. And I think my favourite scene in the entire episode, my second favourite scene actually, was this moment with Egg. Just the way that Dexter played it, it was brilliant. Like, the emotion in his eyes. Like, I know the story inside and out. I'm not surprised by what happens, but it still gets you. Like, seeing little Egg heartbroken. And you know how I keep saying that Dunk doesn't realise what's going on, like, right in front of him. He's oblivious. This happens again, where he's like, oh, that's terrible. What are the chances? And Egg is like, that was intentional. Aerion did that on purpose. And Dunk, again, he can't wrap his head around the idea of supposedly a Knight of the Realm acting in this way. That's not what knights do. Like, that's cheating. Just the tears in Egg's eyes. I wanted to reach through my screen and give him a hug. It was just, oh, my heart broke. And good for Dunk for getting Egg out of there. And I will say this, and we'll get onto it near the end of the episode. This is not the first time that Egg has witnessed Prince Aerion being cruel to animals. Egg is genuinely devastated by what he saw, especially because he spent all this time with Thunder. He's got this rapport with Dunk's horse. And seeing this, it's too much for a young kid. So Dunk and Egg, they wind up back in the Baratheon tent, and you've got Sir Lionel holding court, shirt off, drinks spilling everywhere. It's the middle of the day, I think, and he's still having a fabulous time. He's 3 sheets to the wind, as is Sir Manfred Dondarrion, and they're having this fabulous time, singing along to this song about a girl with... You saw the episode. I love the moment with Dunk and Egg. Firstly, them going from what they saw outside to finding a safe space. Like, they feel safe in the Baratheon tent. It's one of the few places that they feel safe at this tourney. So they're sitting there and they're kind of processing everything. And it's that conversation that Dunk and Egg have about the song that's being sung and the fact that it's not about the girl in the song, it's her story that transcends. And that's very important. And it kind of segues into Egg talking about having that hope, that blind faith, that you've just got to tell yourself, I can do this, and go into it with that attitude. Because if you don't, you're screwed from the beginning. Dunk has no real reason to think he's gonna succeed, and neither does Egg, but they have to blindly believe. They need that extra something, that edge, to push Dunk forward. I also love the conversation where Dunk asked about Egg's dad, like, did you know him? No, not really. Technically true. And Dunk explains, you know, I don't really know much about my father. His early years are a bit hazy. There's something about cats and dogs and rats and pigeons as well, I think, to go into the Bowls of Brown in King's Landing. It's nice to know that, you know, as much as things change in Westeros, the Bowls of Brown never change. Actually, I don't think that's a good thing. Now, interestingly, Dunk and Egg come across a fortune teller. And Dunk, of course, not thinking anything of it, is like, okay, tell my fortune. She says, oh, you'll have great success. You'll be richer than a Lannister. And Dunk thinks, great, fabulous. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Do Egg next. And her demeanour changes instantly. And she says, you will become king, but then you will die in a fiery inferno and people will cheer your demise. And Egg is like, how come Dunk got a good one? What? How? No fair. Like, what? You can't just say that. And Egg's like, Lots of little breadcrumbs in this episode. I liked it. Then they bump into Raymond Fossaway, and shout out Sean Thomas. I think he does a great job as portraying Raymond. He's a nice lad. He's regular. And I love the friendship he strikes up with Dunk. And he says, do you want to come for a drink? You know, we brew our own cider. You know, there's no better apples than the Fossaway apples. And Egg is like, you go, I'll go and watch the puppet show. So they go their separate ways. And we get this scene where Dunk and Raymond are talking about the Targaryens and what's just transpired. And Dunk is like, I can't believe someone like Aerion, a knight of the realm, is behaving this way. This is not honourable. This is not what Sir Arlen said knights were supposed to be like. And Raymond basically says, why did you have these misconceptions about people? Why would they be any different? And that's the thing. These Targaryens in particular, they are absolutely mortal. They are fallible. They are not impervious. They are not dragons. They are flesh and blood, just like me and you. And it's the way that Raymond explains it to Dunk in such frank terms. And then he gets a little carried away and goes on this mini rant about the Targaryens. But it's important that he does say that, because it lets you know not everybody respects House Targaryen as much as they once did. They are not as feared as they once were because they don't have dragons anymore. The House of the Dragon technically no longer really exists. House Targaryen is very hollow, and this feeds into a tension, and it goes all the way back to Aerion and his over-the-top behaviour, his overcompensating. Aerion is making such a big deal about, you must respect House Targaryen, because he knows people don't. People are not as afraid because there is not the fear of being charred alive and eaten as dragon chow. There is less reason to support the Targaryens. Maybe you want to support them because that's the custom. Maybe you genuinely support them because you like them. Or maybe you think, we don't have to support them. Not anymore. What they're going to do. And this is why Aerion is so tightly wound. And he is very sensitive to anything that he perceives as a slight against House Targaryen. And that's when we get the puppet show, where Egg is sitting and he's loving it and everyone's having a great time. Tansel is performing the story, that the legend in Westeros, a very well-known tale of Sir Serwyn and the mirror shield. He uses a shield that is polished, that acts as a mirror, and the dragon he's going up against can't see Sir Serwyn. He's hidden behind the shield. The dragon only sees its own reflection, and Tansel does the trick with the flames, and then you've got like this sort of fake blood confetti stuff pouring out, and Aerion walks in at the exact same time, and he views it as, you are disrespecting the dragons. This is a slight against my house. He doesn't realise, like, this is typical Aerion. He doesn't sense the mood of the room. He doesn't realise people are just having fun. It's a puppet show, mate. Calm down. And he takes great offence. And then Dunk and Raymond are interrupted as Egg comes running along. Sir Duncan, you've got to come and help. He's hurting her. And Dunk doesn't hesitate, and Raymond follows him. So does Sir Steffon Fossaway. And everyone's watching this scene where Aerion and his men are attacking the puppeteers. They're breaking their puppets. Aerion's got Tansel's hand in a grip. He's breaking her fingers. People are screaming, shouting. It's a horrendous scene. And when Dunk sees what Aerion's done to Tansel, he can't hold back. He just surges forward and he lamps Aerion. Dunk has just punched a Targaryen prince in the face. Not good, Dunk. And Dunk, he's winning. Like, he's bigger than Aerion. He's stronger. Aerion tries to grab for his dagger and Dunk just boots him. And it's only because Aerion's men step in and grapple with Dunk that Aerion can even get up off the floor. And he says in such a calm way to Dunk, why'd you give your life away for her? It's not worth it. He already is like, he's tried, he's convicted, and he's sentenced Dunk in 2 seconds flat. You have offended me. You have disrespected House Targaryen. And that's it. Aerion doesn't think, damn, maybe I'm overreacting. And everyone's looking around like, what's going to happen next? Because Aerion, he's got a reputation for being a bit of a difficult Targaryen. You just don't want to get on the wrong side of him. So nobody quite knows what's going to happen. And Aerion is like, you've loosened some of my teeth. We'll do the same to you. And so they push Dunk down and everyone's kind of holding their breaths. And Tansel is in the corner, terrified. And Egg steps forward and he's like, stop. And Dunk is like, no, don't get involved. He doesn't think about himself. He's worried for Egg. Don't get involved. Run, they're going to hurt you. And Egg is like, no, they won't. And if they do, they'll have to answer to my father. If not my father, I'll go and find my uncle. He'll sort all this out. And Dunk is like, what? And Aerion says, impudent little wretch. What have you done to your hair? And Egg says, I cut it off. I didn't want to look like you. Brother. So yeah, cat's out of the bag. Egg is actually a Targaryen. Prince Aegon of House Targaryen. He is one of the missing sons of Maker. He's been at the tourney the whole time. And the look on Dunk's face. He's just like, the cogs are turning. And they're turning a bit too fast for Dunk's liking. He's like, whoa. Let me process this. Egg looks at Dunk as like part big brother, part father figure. And he's closer to Dunk in those few days than he is to his own family, than he is to his own father, his own brothers. He might have been close to Aemon, but with him being down in Old Town, I feel like Egg was lonely. And the timing of him meeting Dunk was just, it was like kismet. It was meant to be. And he steps up because Egg, he's a young kid. He could have been too scared to say anything. It's a frightening situation. But he steps forward because he knows exactly what Aerion is capable of. Do you remember me saying earlier that it was not the first time that Egg had seen Aerion be cruel to animals, what he did with the horse? Well, Egg, he used to have a cat. He doesn't have a cat anymore, and that's because of Aerion. And I'll let you piece it all together. But that's the kind of person Aerion is. And when Dunk is in the firing line, there's no way that Egg's not going to do something. He's like, no, I've got to stand up. This is my friend, Sir Duncan. And it's so funny when everyone's like, that's Prince Aegon. And he's dressed like an absolute pauper. But the situation dramatically changes. And Dunk, he was on the verge of like, it was curtains for Dunk. But now there is a chance. And he's shocked because this is the thing. Even though Egg has dropped a few clues, it never registered with Dunk who Egg really was. And he's like, what? Like, Dunk is just in pure shock. He really is. And that's how the episode ends. And I thought the episode firstly was brilliant. I thought the pacing was good. The score was brilliant. That final bit where it was like, Tansel, Dunk, Egg, Stefan, Raymond, Aerion, just everybody's faces like couldn't believe what was happening. I thought it was beautifully done, and just the way that it was the pages in the book come to life. It really was. I have no critiques. I think this might be my favourite episode actually. Oh, I don't know. I've loved them all. I'm going to give this a 9.25 out of 10 because I thought this was beautiful. I thought this was a really good Egg episode. Like the way that it was just, you saw all different facets of Egg. You saw his bravery, you saw his passion, you saw his curiosity, you saw his fear. He's still a kid, and you saw him standing up for what is right. And that's why we love Dunk and Egg in this house. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to know what you guys thought of episode 3 of the big reveal. Did you know it was coming? If you didn't know, how did it feel when you saw it happen? If you did know, did it live up to the expectations? It certainly did for me. And yeah, before I end, I want to give a shout out to firstly Peter Claffey for his comedic timing, chef's kiss, and also Dexter Sol Ansel. What a star. You absolutely smashed it this episode, kid. Like tens. So yeah, that was episode 3 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and we're halfway through. That I don't like. But we are getting to the really juicy bit of the story now, and I've seen the promo for episode 4. It was only a snippet, but we see the consequences of what's gone down on this day. And I can't wait to see how it all plays out.